Namaskar, good evening to all of you. So you are joining us tonight on Facebook as well as YouTube and Periscope. So I don't know if some of you are probably joining us from different parts of the world. And tonight it is an interesting session. It's about trouble sleeping, insomnia, or sleep paralysis, also sleepwalking. So we will go into more detail. It is a question answer. I will share for around 10 to 15 minutes some point about this topic, and after you can ask all your questions in regards to this. So first, I will introduce myself. My name is Cyriaque. I come from France, and I'm doing spiritual practice for the past 20 years now. I lived in India for 10 years in an ashram where I was doing spiritual practice. And now for the past 1 year and a half, I'm traveling around Europe. And as a service, as my seva or my spiritual practice, I'm conducting a lecture or workshops. And to introduce also the Spiritual Science Research Foundation, it means also as an acronym SSRF. It's a non-profit organization that is registered in USA and Australia and Europe, and it has two main objectives: is to explain about the spiritual dimension and how it can affect our life positively and negatively. And the second main objective is to guide a seeker in their spiritual journey all the way to God realization. So we have a website. I encourage you to read because we have a lot of knowledge, more than 750 articles in different topics pertaining to spirituality or spiritual practice. And as you can see also behind me, that is a research center in Goa, India, and also the University of Spirituality known as the Maharishi University of Spirituality, that has been founded by His Holiness Dr. Vallee, that is a saint from higher order from India, and is also the source of inspiration of SSRF. So before we start all our event, we always start with 2 minutes of chanting or meditation just to calm the mind. So what we will do now is for 2 minutes, I will ask you to close your eyes. Either you can meditate or whether you can repeat name in your mind, Guru Mantra or any name that you are repeating, or otherwise if it is new for you, you can close your eyes and focus on breathing for 2 minutes to calm the mind, and then we will start the lectures. Okay, we can open our eyes and then we will start. So about today's topic, when I will be sharing different points, you can always start asking questions in the chat, and later on we will take your questions. Also afterwards, so I will be actually sharing some point for 10 to 15 minutes, and afterwards the remaining 40 minutes we can take your questions. So about trouble sleeping, actually with the current situation today, with the change of our daily life activity, being at home, now it has been reported that many people are experiencing like trouble sleeping, and in fact also more than 25 to 30% of the world population are experiencing insomnia, either for few months or even for some for many years. And being deprived of sleep, I think some of you who are joining tonight who are maybe experiencing it, limit our capacity. And apart from, we can say, sleepiness or insomnia, there are other type of sleeping disorders such as sleep paralysis or sleepwalking, also nightmares, recurring nightmares, that we have covered in our last live stream a week ago. So for those who are going through that, sometimes it can be quite unpleasant or even frightening. So why do we experience trouble sleeping, or what is do experience in such disorders? In our login, even now we have a live chat, and in the month of April we receive 1,000 questions in English, and many people share about the problem of sleep disorders, not able to sleep or difficulty to sleep or sleep paralysis. And many times, see, we don't speak about it, especially when it comes to sleep paralysis. We also may wonder if we say that, will others believe me what I'm experiencing? So with spiritual research that we have conducted, every problem can be actually either physical, psychological, or spiritual. And in today's time, in modern science, all the problems that we encounter either are looked at the physical aspect or the psychological aspect. And in regards to insomnia or even excessive sleeping or trouble sleeping, it is mainly due to psychological reasons. And when it comes to nightmares or sleep disorders such as sleepwalking or sleep paralysis, that is more spiritual reasons. So when it comes to trouble sleeping or insomnia, by psychological we mean that actually the mind is disturbed due to some situations and the person is experiencing stress. So the mind at that time becomes vulnerable, and it is easy for negative energy, and they are attracted towards it. And in some other cases, some person may not experience stress in some way of life, but because the person is also affected by negative energy or ancestral problem, it is very easy for the negative energy to cause problem to the person in regards to sleep. So there is, when it comes to sleep paralysis, such is something very interesting that we have done a survey with 46% who actually experience sleep paralysis. And what is very interesting is most of them repeated almost the same things they have experienced. So when it comes to sleep paralysis, some person experience either the feeling of pressure on the chest, some experience being tied up as they can't move, some experience the feeling of strangulation, some have experienced the presence of an entity, sensing the presence of an entity, some experience or they can hear subtle sounds, subtle voice, and even some experience the feeling of being touched by some subtle entity, and that is quite unpleasant and frightening. So when we did research into this, we found that 60% of the case of sleep paralysis is caused by spiritual reason. Either it is due to negative energy or due to departed ancestors. And another interesting also sleep disorder is sleepwalking. So in sleepwalking also, it is due to spiritual root cause mainly. And it is like a subtle entity or subtle negative energy entering the person and try to fulfill their wish to do things that they want to do. And the person is unaware. And many times, if in some family, many people suffer from sleepwalking, that is probably a case that the family is affected by departed ancestors. And actually there is a misconception. We say we should not wake up a person who is sleepwalking. But in reality we should wake up, gently of course, but we should wake up, because otherwise if it is a negative entity, we should stop the negative energy to do what they want, what they are trying to do. So when it comes to different solutions, in regards to the survey, now I explained to you about the sleep paralysis. So what was the finding is that those who did spiritual healing remedy or did some spiritual practice, they experienced a relief of the sleep paralysis. In some of them, it vanished completely after some time. So actually it shows a correlation, because most of the medical community are telling that the problem, or are trying to address this problem of sleep paralysis, is more at the psychological level, and there are some physical level. And some people suffer all life from those problems. But actually the root cause, as I shared earlier, there are 3 dimensions: physical, psychological and spiritual. And when this spiritual dimension is addressed, like doing some spiritual healing remedy or spiritual practice, then this problem went away. And we have a very interesting case study about sleep paralysis that we will also put on the chat. You can read that article about a seeker who was able to overcome sleep paralysis. So about one solutions is to repeat a name of God. One of them is 2 names. One is called Shri Gurudev Datta, and another one is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So as I shared before, from the spiritual dimension, is that to be affected by ancestor problem. So the name of Shri Gurudev Datta has that capacity to protect from ancestor problem. And Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, that chant has that capacity to fight or protect against negative energy. So we recommend to either repeat that chant or to listen also in low tone. So what you can do for those who are experiencing insomnia or like middle case of, we can say, sleep disorders, then you can repeat up to 3 hours. You can see which chant helps you the most, whether Shri Gurudev Datta or Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And for those who have more severe sleep disorders, then at that time you can increase up to 5 hours. But we recommend also try to chant is important, and to play at night in low tone, because the sound has a capacity also to clear the atmospheres. And these 2 chants you can download for free on our website. We can paste it, the link on the chat, so you can download and listen. You can put in your mobile. It is practical. So if you have questions, don't hesitate. You can start asking different questions, because of course I'm sharing gist, but there are actually a lot of knowledge in regards to this topic. What we say about trouble sleeping or insomnia, we say it is actually 50% psychological, and after negative energy take advantage. So if the mind is in the stage of stress, example, we are worried, of course not because of the situation we are worried, no? So we go to bed with a state of worry. So at that time, the chance for a sleepy well will become less. So how to reduce worry, how to reduce stress. And this is a spiritual technique, is how to overcome defect of personality. And this technique has been, the pioneer is in a way Sadguru, Dr. Vallee. This is who is actually the founder of the University of Spirituality and the source of inspiration of SSRF. So how to overcome and reduce defect of per se is through this technique. And this is process, it is a process that we also have courses, and also we invite you to come to our free satsang online. It is a free meeting, we can say, of seekers who try to work on themselves to grow spiritually. And we use the platforms such as FCC or Skype, and we help the seeker in this process of analyzing about defect within self, and of course finding the solution, that is the autosuggestion technique. And of course in the satsang we also explain about spiritual practice and how to grow spiritually. So when I go back now to the autosuggestion technique, in this process it is to give an autosuggestions or a positive suggestions to counter the negative or stressful thought that are or disturbing feelings that come from the subconscious mind. So when we repeat that type of suggestions, we will give some example afterwards, it helps to reduce the intensity of the mind. And automatically, if the mind is in a better state or balanced state of mind, at that time the negative energy cannot take so much advantage, and it is easier to fall asleep. So I will just give some two type of example of autosuggestion technique. We will paste it on the chat also, so you can also repeat. So one of them is, whenever I'm unable to sleep and start worrying about it, I will realize that lying in the bed and relaxing is as good as falling asleep. So I will remain calm and start chanting God's name while lying in bed. So in a way we are telling the mind to pacify the mind. There is another autosuggestion is, when I start worrying about the current situation and am unable to sleep, I will realize that tomorrow is a new day. So I will remain calm, start chanting God's name while lying in bed and fall asleep. So how we take an autosuggestion technique is, first we close our eyes and chant or focus on breathing for 1 minute, just for the mind to become calm. And then we repeat this sentence 5 times in the mind. And then after we conclude with a gratitude. And that is called 1 sessions. So like that, repeating like that 3 sessions to 5 sessions per day. See, everything we learn, whether it is languages, whether it is table of mathematics, everything we learn through repetitions. This is how the subconscious mind get built, through repetitions. So like that, by creating a positive suggestion to the mind to counteract those negative thoughts. And this really is quite helpful. So you may try it. It will take some time, and if somebody is suffering for insomnia for some months or years, it will take some time to build that positive impression in the subconscious mind. So about others, spiritual, we can say do and don't of what we can do and we should not do. So what we recommend is to sleep east-west directions. Do not sleep on north-south. That means the feet or head should be in east-west directions. Because at time of dawn, the positivity comes from the east. The sun goes from the east to west and west to east. We should not sleep during sunset, because at sunset, the twilight period, the activity of negative energy is much more. We recommend also not to eat meat or to drink alcohol at night. Why? Because that increases the negative vibration within us, and that automatically attract negative energy. We also recommend not to sleep in the nude Why? Because actually clothes are creating a protective shield around our body. Because in today's time, the spiritual level of a person who is not doing any spiritual practice is less. So we are easily vulnerable by negative energy. And also we recommend not to sleep in the dark, in complete dark, and you can leave a small light on. We recommend some sleeping position. We have also very interesting articles of different sleeping postures. What is the best sleep positions to have? We can paste for you to also those links for you to read those articles. So in a way, don't sleep on your stomach, because when we sleep on the stomach, it presses the organs, and the gas excretory actually can attract the negative vibrations. And it is best position is to sleep, if possible, on your left, because the nadi, the sukshma nadi, is activated. So like that, some say, but in a way we should not worry, because what is the most important is to chant God's name when we go to bed. As I shared earlier, if we go to sleep with some negative thoughts in the mind, or with some worry, then our mind will actually emit such type of vibrations. But if we chant, our mind will become calm. And then that's why some of you may find difficult. Now we are used to sleep in a position for so many years. So if you are not to find that position, in a way not to worry. Chanting is much more important. So this is only what I wanted to share in Gist, because of course there is much more to say. But better now we can take your questions. So we can take your questions now. So this is a question from, you are right, this is from Larry, yes, I remember. So good evening, Larry. Your question is, does the regular use of salt water, like the salt water, help in reducing or stopping bad dreams at night? Yes, that is also salt water remedy may be useful. It helps to do salt water. What we recommend also is you can keep boxes around your bed. That is something that is very practical. You can read on the website how to position the box. We also recommend to light incense. In SSRF we have prepared some incense we have with actually more spiritual. We have actually the component are more natural, and especially the fragrance has that ability to spread the positivity in the environment. So the more we use spiritual remedy, the better, like salt water, box, incense, keeping the chant in low tone, like well in the night. There is another question from Yasmin Egert. Why do I always dream about the same person and have nightmare about them? In this case, it is my relatives. See, it depends. In regards to dream, we mentioned that it's also come from the subconscious mind. So sometimes, if they are alive, you can also mention if they are alive. At that time, we may have impression, no, whether we have a good relation or a bad relationship. So at that time, they may come in dreams, and recurring dreams, usually negative energy, in a way intensify, and it is a way to disturb us. So there is one way is to, we can say, repeat the chant of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and Shri Gurudev Datta. In case they are not alive, I don't know if they are not alive at that time, it is better to repeat more Shri Gurudev Datta. Otherwise, if there is something more at psychological level, if they are alive due to some not good relation, we can take autosuggestion technique also to remove whether there are some resentment or some different things in our mind. There is another question from Yogamaya Dasi. I have excessive sleeping and have to sleep for 12 hours or more to feel refreshed. So we explain that in regards to excessive sleep, sometimes it is also, so there are two things. It's a combination sometimes of, we can say, psychological, our mind, as well as negatively take advantage. So that's why to continue different type of spiritual healing remedy, as well as this autosuggestion technique. So both have effect. One will be what we can say psychosomatic, and other one will be curative. So both we should do. See, whether it is more psychological in nature, then we should do more autosuggestion to overcome defect of personality. Negative energy take advantage, so we should do healing remedy. When the cause is more spiritual in nature, then we should do as a curative healing remedy, and psychosomatic autosuggestion technique, because both in a way link to each other. So there is another questions from Yasmina. 4 years I can't fall asleep before midnight. During the day I chant data. It is like I'm afraid to fall asleep. I sleep with the light on in the hallway. How can I improve my sleeping quality? So here, Yasmin, in case of there is a fear, maybe whether it is a fear of sleeping or fear of the dark, or afraid of falling asleep, at the time that autosuggestion technique may be helpful, and to see how to formulate the autosuggestion, like whenever I feel afraid of falling asleep, I will realize that God is there to protect me, so I will chant and calmly go to sleep. Something like that, we can see how to help you to frame that autosuggestion better. See, remember, here you say no, you can't fall asleep for quite many years. You are chanting data chant. So here, if it is more from personality defect, then autosuggestion is needed. Then maybe improvement will be more rapid. There is also another question, I can't read the name, but it is high. While going to sleep, my body moves suddenly, and those movements awaken me at night. What should I do? So there is also some people experience like something, they experience some jerks. The body start jerking and awakens the person. So like that, it can be two aspects. Sometimes in regards to different problem of sleep disorders, the physical body is only 10%. Majority is between psychological problem or spiritual in nature. So at that time, again, both are important, whether it is an autosuggestions or it is different type of spiritual healing remedy. And you can see with the do and don't that we share, how you can try to apply those remedy, either not to do or to apply the different type of remedy. There is another question from Anna Mongini. What does it mean when I start to lucid dream and then I pray to God and I start changing, and it start changing intensely? So it is something a bit different, but I will answer the question. This is from the last week about lucid dream. Actually, we recommend not to do lucid dream because it is something that is something self-desired. It is something that we try to control, an illusion. So it is better to avoid. So at that time, it is better than to not to try to do lucid dream, but to stop and start chanting. There is another question from Shrutika Garud. After taking up to 9 hours sleep, I can't feel fresh, and there are thoughts coming in sleep also. Because of that, I constantly face the pain. Actually, there is many people sometimes experience that even after 8 to 9 hours, or even we can say 7 to 8, that usually is a common time of sleep, the person wake up tired or drained. So there are two aspects. Either we have too many dreams, because I remember what I shared last week in our the last live stream, that dream also consume our energy. So if we have at that time excessive dream, we may wake up with less energy. Or if we experience nightmares, at that time also we wake up drained, tired. Just to understand in today's time, the negativity is more predominant and use the time such as night to affect us in a more easy way. So that's why measures, spiritual measures are important, such as keeping box, such as lighting incense. Some also another remedy is to light a ghee lamp, because a ghee lamp comes from clarified butter from an Indian cow, and we have done spiritual research using biofeedback machine or biofeedback device, and it was quite astonishing to see that the ghee lamp is able to purify the atmospheres. So actually there is also, as per Shastras, that means as per old science, that ancestors or old tradition in India, people used to keep a ghee lamp in the door at the time of twilight or at the time of dawn. Why? Because to prevent from negative energy to enter the house. So that's why we can keep also a ghee lamp lit at night, because it emanates positive vibrations. We also recommend that I repeat again myself, but this is a very simple and easy. It's just to put on your mobile phone in low tone the chant of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya or Shri Gurudev Datta. There is another question from Vallee. I always wake up between 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. Then I stay awake for at least 1.5 hours. What can I do? So sometimes when we wake up at that time, usually the what we call negative, where negative energy is more active. It is after sunset, we can say from 10-11 at night to usually up to 2:30, 3 a.m. This is where the intensity is more. So at that time the best is to do some different type of healing remedy. You may try to see whether also trying that autosuggestion technique, whether there are too many thoughts in our mind. So autosuggestions that I placed before for you to see, and also about different healing remedy. So chanting is one of the best, but we can use incense, boxes around us, salt water, I think also we can do. It's true when it is 1 or 2 a.m. sometimes we may not have that willing ability to, how to say, get up and take a box, or we can say do salt water. That's why chanting is easier. So we can pray for protections and chant from inside. There is another question from Kamini Saha. If someone who is close to me die, then for that 3 to 6 weeks I lose sleep. What do I do? See, usually there is also when some relative passed away, usually there is some science that at that time we recommend that the person should chant for 10 days continuously Shri Gurudev Datta. Because at that time we are, in a way, if it is a close relation, we may have some connection with that person. So we may experience some negative vibration. So this is one aspect, is for 10 days, at that time just to chant Shri Gurudev Datta. And because it is like that now, when there is an increase in negative vibration, at that time we can't fall asleep. Negative energy is trying to deprive us from sleep, so that during daytime we lose our capacity, we can't function, especially we can't do spiritual practice. We barely can manage our day-to-day life activity. But to be able to do daily life activity and do spiritual practice, we need energy, we need stamina. As I shared in last, I will just repeat because that was a very interesting knowledge that we shared last week in our in the dream and nightmares live stream. is actually sleep is meant as a meditation. Sleeping should be to be able to recharge fully our battery, and at higher level, when the person actually mind becomes purified due to spiritual practice, sleeps become like meditation. So negative energy use our, we can say, defect of personality or our lack of spiritual practice, and then deprive us from sleep, so that we become less functional. Because to grow spiritually today, we need to have capacity, we need to have energy to do spiritual practice. There is another question from Ashirvad Patak. How to cure insomnia completely? See, as we say now, that in regards to insomnia, 50% is caused due to psychological factors, 40% due to negative energy problem. So the solution is rather simple. If we do spiritual practice and we grow spiritually, what happens? Our mind become pure. Then that psychological factor is overruled. The person will not have stress, worry. And because there is a positivity around the person, automatically negative energy cannot interfere. So that's why if we do good spiritual practice and we grow spiritually, then we get free from insomnia, or we get free from any type of sleep disorders. Sleep becomes meditation. There is another, see, when it comes back, I just go back to your questions. How to cure insomnia? In today's time, what happened? We go to doctor, they give pill. Then you go back to doctor again. Well, they give pill only, because the problem is addressed only at the physical or psychological level. But ultimately, the solution is at the spiritual level. When we grow spiritually, there is no more problem of any type. There is another question of Sue Reader. How can I know what the energy is asking for or need from us? Are all vibrational energy evil, or some there to protect us? See, ultimately we can't understand until and unless our sixth sense ability is high. We can't understand if a good energy or negative energy want from us. It's difficult to understand. Usually negative energy wants to give us harm only, in one way or another. But if it is a good energy, usually they will not disturb us, no? They will not create problem. So we should try, when it comes to that aspect, we should not try to analyze, to understand, or the time utilized to try to understand. Ultimately we may not get answers. It is better to utilize that time to do either autosuggestions, mean overcoming defect within us, or spiritual healing remedy. There is another question from Barbara Ochino. What frequency, sound, tone do you recommend for sound sleep? Can you share a link to your suggested? We paste that link. You can download, you can listen in low tone. You can also try to repeat in mind. See, ultimately it's at the level of sound, no? Sound is one of the highest element. There are earth, water, fire, air, and heater. So sound is at the level of air and heater. It is the highest, one of the highest element. So it has a lot of potency. And when it is associated to a name of God, it is associated to a principle, because those names are associated to a principle. God is a principle only. And there are three principles, that is creation, sustenance, and dissolution. And every name of God, it's a mix of those three types of principles. There is another question from Maria Corluca. I have insomnia since I was 24 years old. Now I am 40, so almost 16 years. I take some medicine for sleeping since a year. I am with SSRF for 3 years and my situation partially improved. Do I have advice? What should I do? So ultimately, see, again, for a sleep disorder to go away, it depends of few factors. It depends on the intensity, whether it is of the whether we are able to overcome defect within us. Let's say if it is due to psychological aspect. So how much we are able to overcome such defects such as worry, anxiety, stress. And if it is also aggravated or caused by negative energy. And depending on the intensity or the strength of that negative energy, it takes some time. And how much spiritual practice I do. If my spiritual practice is intense, then within a short time I can overcome. So there are many factors. If it is due to negative energy, what is the intensity of the negative energy or the strength of the negativity, and how much spiritual practice I do. So like that we have some case of seekers who overcome different sleep problems like sleep paralysis within a very short time. And some take more time. It depends from everyone, but ultimately it takes some time. No, when it comes to the spiritual dimension, it takes some time for some cure to happen, and it will vary from one to another. But what is very important is some case of people who used to suffer many years because they were addressing only two routes: physical, psychological. So we have to address physical, psychological and spiritual. There is a question from Poonam Shinde. What prayer should I do before going to sleep? So that time we can pray to God. We can pray to God for protection, and that my chanting happen during the night. Because see, prayer is just once, no? But chanting can happen if we chant. Chanting can continue during sleep also. Many seekers have experienced that during sleep they can hear the chant because it happened at subconscious level. So prayer is good to do, but remember, before going to sleep you can pray, but then keep chanting from inside. There is a question from Carlos. I used to wake up to 3:42, and at that time I sat down to meditate, but now when I wake up at 3:42 I felt great pressure and pain in my eyes, and it makes me fall asleep again. When I go back to sleep, because of this I have dreams and I wake up very tired with my eye very sore. I do the chant meditation, I sleep in the right direction with box and still have this problem. Okay, see, in a way, Carlos, also, I don't know if as I shared earlier, no, many people now are reporting that the sleep disorder have increased. And one aspect is now the negative energy in the environment has increased tremendously. And many people worldwide are experiencing more trouble in this aspect. So ultimately we should continue our spiritual practice, our effort. It's a matter of time that we have shared initially that we are in a transition period before we go towards a more positive time. And then later on, when the positive will come, those problems will not go. But if you also work on increasing spiritual remedy and maybe taking these auto-suggestions, then maybe it may help you. And maybe not to wake up now at 3:42 a.m. unless you wake up. Otherwise sleep more and maybe wake up at 5 or 5:30. That may be more easy. Maybe to change your pattern now. Because before it works, now it may not work. Why? Because distress or negative vibration is more. So you can try to wake up more, little bit more, like 4:35. See, what in other aspect, just to go back to Carlos, sometimes you may try some healing remedy, but ultimately we need to change, no? Because it depends for everybody. So someday we may do one healing remedy. After 1 week, that healing remedy may not work. Then we can try another healing remedy. Like we said, you try Sri Gurudev Datta. If it doesn't work, or it doesn't after some time, then to chant Om Namo. There's another healing remedy you can use is Nyas. Nyas comes from the science of mudras. We have an article on the website. So the science is when we put all fingers together and we can place in the different chakra we have. So I don't know if all of you know, we have 7 chakras, and the Nyas where you can put when there is sleep disorders and it is medium, you can put as a Swadhisthana. Swadhisthana is one of the lowest chakra, close to genital part. So you can do at that place and chant. Or if it is more severe, you can do at the level of Anahat chakra. If those who are experiencing more sleep disorders, at that time you can do the Nyas at the level of Anahat and repeat either Shri Gurudev Datta or Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. In regards to Bhakti Sagar, she said not remembering any dream. Is it physical problem or normal? See, many times we don't remember dreams because we dreams many times during the night, and I think it's better. We don't want to remember dream. It's in a way it is unnecessary because it consume our energy. So not to worry about it. It's better in a way not to remember. But ultimately, we should not worry or think whether I'm dreaming or why I'm not dreaming, because ultimately we should go to a state of not dreaming. Another question from TK. I'm unable to sleep on time these days and some night without sleep at all. Is this due to hormones? Please tell Ayurvedic and spiritual remedy both. See, when we explained before in regards to problem of sleep trouble, sleeping less, or insomnia. Physical is only 10%. The major aspect is psychological aspect, that is 50%. And the other 40% is spiritual, cause negative energy or ancestral problem. So that's why, of course, if we have some physical problem, we may take medicine. But you can remember that working on our mind, whether it is worry, fear, too much thought, excessive thinking, then taking autosuggestion is best medicine. But we recommend, of course, if let's say a doctor prescribe some normal medicine because of some problem with the body, we should take those medicine. We recommend not to stop any physical healing remedy of taking such medicine for some physical disorders. At SSRF is very important. We should continue, and at that time you should take autosuggestion or spiritual healing remedy. There is another question from Sue Ryder. Is the coronavirus causing general sleep havoc worldwide? Will corona change our approach to rest when we are forced to stay indoors? See, actually the coronavirus is causing general sleep havoc due to our mind. Our mind become unstable now due to that situation. So it's not because of the corona, it is because we are responding. Our mind is responding with tension, stress, worry, anxiety, being at home, handle situation differently. So this creates stress, and then due to that the person can't sleep properly. So that's why the solution is we can't change the situation outside, no? But we can try to reduce the unnecessary thought, worry or stress. And the technique is very simple. It is autosuggestion technique, working on overcoming defect within us. And this is something where we help seeker in this process. We do it as our spiritual practice to to help the seeker. And we have many seekers worldwide from different paths who, when they started to work on overcoming defect of personality, their interaction and day-to-day life changes, because automatically the person have less worry. They are able to sleep better, or they are able to interact better. If the person anger or different type of defects such as insecurity become less. Same, the person is less worried about the different interactions and is able to see all situation with a more, like we can say, a relaxed mind. Just to understand that when we share about in our workshops about the problem of personality defect, it is not because of the situation, is how we react to the situations depending on the internal stressor within us. And the internal stressor are what we call personality defect, anger, emotionalism, or insecurity, worry. But we keep on blaming the external stresses, what is outside. But when we work on ourselves, our spiritual practice, and we are able to reduce or overcome those internal stresses, then we start reacting completely differently to the outside situation. And situations are not stressful. There is another question from Anitamka. Sorry if I misspell. Early morning while sleeping, I feel some dark energy who force me this much. I cannot open my eyes. It happened to me twice after doing chakra activation meditation. I take rest around 7 a.m. after doing yoga. Sorry, I can't read. And chakra meditation between 3 to 7 a.m. So if I understood properly, you are doing some chakra meditation from 3 to 7 a.m. Okay. See, ultimately what we recommend now, it is sometime if we start doing some practice, like say you are doing chakra activation meditation, you can see for some time, but usually we don't recommend to do that early at 3. Usually Brahma route start at 3:30 a.m. because until 3 a.m. negative is still active. So that's why we recommend, if at all to start chanting or meditation, better to start after 3:30 a.m. And you can try to try the same activity with chanting and see how you feel from inside. There is another question from Kate Kerin. I am experiencing I'm experiencing heart palpitation at night when I am almost asleep without any stimulus that may cause it. I have been to doctor for testing and there are no medical cause. What do you suggest? See, when there is something abnormal and even doctors say that there is no cause for it, the chance can be either due to negative energy or coming from the spiritual dimension. So at the time, what you can try to do, you can try to repeat either the Shri Gurudev Datta or Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya in mind. You can play in low tone and repeat in mind if you are not familiar. So I will stop now because there is still many questions that you are asking, and you can see that how everyone is experiencing different type of sleep disorders. But just I recommend just to try those sleeping we can say solutions. So solutions such as autosuggestion technique, the sleeping positions, repeating the name like Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and Shri Gurudev Datta. They are in a way simple remedies, but just is to remember to do it. So like that, you can also read on our website about the sleep postures, about the different healing remedies that we have. And you can read also about importance of chanting and the benefit of chanting that it has. So gratitude for all of you for joining. Just I recommend for I think we will have again a collective chanting session on Thursday, and also on Sunday we will have also a collective chanting sessions at the same time from 4 to 5 p.m. like Central European time. And I encourage you, of course, to try increase your spiritual practice, whatever spiritual practice you are doing, always to try to go to the next stage or next step. So of course you are welcome to come also to our next event. We will send you. You see, there is a survey, a short survey of two, three questions to ask how you feel about our live stream session, or if any topic you want us to take. That we will be actually willing to tell if some of you are interested. So you can fill that survey of 2-3 questions. And gratitude to come tonight to this live stream session, and hope you learn something and try to put into practice, and best wish that you overcome the sleep disorders and take a peaceful night, peaceful sleep, because this is how we should know. We should be able to sleep well. We should be able to experience happiness. We should be able to experience bliss. And that if we do spiritual practice, it's possible. We'll be able to not only experience better sleep or happiness, we'll be able to experience bliss. That is a much higher, or we can say indefinite happiness, because it comes from inside, from within. That is a God principle present in everyone. So gratitude for joining us. Namaskar to all of you.